Hi, everyone. Okay, so we've talked about making equal groups and we've talked about finding a part of a group. Today, we're going to talk about how we can model or draw a picture to show a part of a part. And questions that show part of a part, multiplication, involve two fractions because we're taking a part or a piece less than one of something that's already less than one or already part of a whole. So for example, we could have 2/3 of 1/4 and model that to show a part of a part. And we would do this by drawing an array or a rectangle. So let's take a look at how this works. First, I'll draw that array and divide it into rows using the denominator of my second fraction. Since I'm taking 2/3 of 1/4, that means I'm starting with a fourth of a group. So to show that in my picture, I'll draw a rectangle and split it into 4 sections because my denominator tells me that my whole is broken up into 4 equal sized pieces. Now, to show that I'm working with 1/4 of it, I'll shade in the same number of rows as my numerator. So this tells me that I'm starting with a group that is just this blue section, 1/4 of the entire rectangle. Next, I need to model my first factor, the 2/3. So to do that, I'll start by dividing that same array into columns. And this time I'll use the denominator of the first fraction. So in other words, now my model will look like this. I still have the 4 rows going side to side, but I also have the 3 columns going up and down. This is overlapping that 2/3 on top of the 1/4. To show that I'm talking about 2 of these pieces, because the numerator tells me I have 2 out of 3 pieces, I need to shade in the same number of columns as the numerator. So in other words, I'll shade in 2 columns. Now I can use this picture to help me figure out my final answer. First, I'll count the total number of pieces in the array, and that will tell me my denominator. And that makes sense because I know that the denominator of a fraction tells me the number of equal sized pieces it takes to make up one whole. So in this entire model, I have 12 small equal sized slices. Finally, the pieces that overlap are our numerator. This is our answer. So since 2 pieces overlap, that means 2/3 of 1/4 is equal to 2/12. Mathematically, I can show this by saying 2/3 times 1/4 equals 2/12 because I multiply my numerators of 2 times 1 to get 2, and I multiply my denominators of 3 times 4 to get 12. Let's take a look at a couple more examples and see how you would draw these yourself. Okay, so if we are looking at modeling part of a part, what we're doing is we're modeling fraction multiplication. So in my first example, I have 2/3 of 1/5. That means I'm starting with 1/5. So I'll start by drawing my array and splitting it into 5 pieces. I know that it's 5 pieces because my denominator is a 5. And in order to show that I'm starting with 1/5, I'll shade in one of those 5 pieces. So I'm going to highlight that in blue. This helps me focus on just that first part to start off with. Now I know I need to find 2/3 of that. So in order to model 2/3, I first need to split this into 3 columns. I'm basically creating a second array right on top of this that's showing thirds as my columns. And since my numerator is 2, that means I need to shade in 2 of those columns. So I'll do that in yellow. So you can already see that some of that part at the top is changing color, and that overlap is going to be important. Okay. So now the part that's overlapping is going to be my final answer or my product. So I can see that I have 2 pieces overlapping. So 2 is my numerator, and it's 2 pieces out of all of the equal size pieces that make up this entire rectangle. So I need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are 15 equal size pieces to make up this whole group. So that tells me 2/3 of 1/5 is 2/15. Let's take a look at two more. This time I have 1/2 of 2/6. Again, I'm starting with my second factor. And since my denominator is 6, I'll split that into 6 equal sized slices. My numerator of 2 tells me I need to shade in 2 of those slices. So far the first two examples all started with a numerator of 1. This time I'm starting with a numerator of 2. It just means I need to shade in 2 of those pieces. Now I need to take 1/2 of this. So I'm going to draw another array overlapping where I split it in half. That means I'll have 2 equal sized columns. And I'm shading in one of those 2 columns. So I'll do that in yellow with an alternating color. And you can see that that's turning green up at the top. That part that turns green, or the overlap, is going to represent my answer. So now, again, I have a numerator of 2 because I have 2 pieces that are shaded in green out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 equal size pieces. So my final product here is 2/12, or we know if we wanted to put that in simplest form, it could be 1/6. Let's take a look at one more together. So now I have 3/5 of 1/3. So again, I need to start by modeling 1/3. So I'll split my array into 3 equal size sections, and I'll shade in one of those sections to represent 1/3, or the amount that I'm starting with. Now I need to find 3/5 of that blue strip. So to do that, I'll split this into fifths, or 5 equal sized columns. And I'll shade in 3 of them. I'll go over 3, shade all these pieces in. So now you can see the part that has overlapped is 3 pieces. So my numerator here is 3. And all together I have 15 pieces making up my entire rectangle. So this model shows 3/15, which in simplest form would be the same as 1/5. So that's how you would model fraction multiplication to prove the math that you do. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to do more like this with you.